So, I've read book number 7 out of my 10 books in 10 weeks challenge. And this week's book was The Amityville Horror by Jay Anson. Um, so, actually, based on a true story that happened in a small town upstate New York, if I'm not mistaken, called Amityville, actually. So, once again, based on a true story. And the back, just so you guys know, the backstory of Amityville is that there was a murder in a house, actually a mass murder, a lot of murders. One child, so he was like 23 years old, I think, when he committed all these murders. But one child, being Ronnie DeFeo, killed all his family, so all his brothers and sisters and his parents. Um, and the weird thing about this is that he killed everybody with a shotgun or a hunting rifle, and actually a really big gun, and nobody heard anything. And actually, all everybody in the house were asleep when they got killed, so nobody woke up from the sound of these of the gun firing. So nobody woke up, so that's kind of weird. And also, secondly, none of the neighbors heard anything at all. Like, the way they learned about the murders is that Ronnie, after murdering everybody, go went to the pub to get a beer, and actually told about the murders that happened in his house. Like, he found everybody in the house already dead, but he essentially learned that he was the killer. Um, so fast forward a year after that, after the murders, uh, somebody else buys the house, so the Lutz. So we're going to follow the Lutzes within the book, um, living inside that house, but for a month, because after 28 days, so not actually not a month, but almost a month. After 28 days, they fled the house in panic, actually. And the book is essentially, narrating what happened during these 28 days. This is something that I liked about the book, actually, the way it flows. It starts with the Lutzes buying the house, then it goes into the backstory of the house, then moving forward, every chapter is the start of a new day, actually, and it builds this sequence for the book, which I really liked. We don't know, even at the end of the book, we don't know if anything that happens within the book really happened or not, and that's something that I very enjoyed from the book, actually, once again. So this ends the spoiler-free version of the video. If you know nothing about the Amityville Horror, do the research. Maybe go read about it on Wikipedia or something. Read the book or watch the original movie. Don't watch any other movies than the original. Everything else is just crap. And even the remake with Ryan Reynolds is really not good. So go watch the original. It's with James Brolin, so Josh Brolin's dad, which is a very good actor. He's really believable in that movie, actually. Go watch that. Yeah, that's it. So on with the heavy, not really heavy spoilers, mainly mild spoilers. I'm not going to dig too deep into the book. I'm just going to talk about some stuff that happens in the book, and maybe, spoiling things here and there. So first off, the book starts with maybe, I'm not sure if it's the first day or the second day, but priest comes into the house to bless the house. While he's blessing the house, he's hearing this voice like screaming near his ear. It's screaming like, get out, to tell the priest to get out of the house. Eventually, he does get out of the house, and every time that he tries to help the Lutzes, so the ones that bought the house, every time the priest is trying to help the Lutzes, he's gonna fall sick or have, weird things happening to him. So the priest, right from the start, is going to say that it's a demon. A demon is involved in that, just because of him being sick and having these weird occurrences. Okay, replace the mic. All right. So other weird things that happens in their house. There are some flies inside the house. Even if they kill off all the flies, flies comes back to the house, which is weird because they're in winter, and I don't know if where you live there's winter, but flies dies in winter. Like, it's just November here and there are no flies at all around. And when the book, the everything portrayed in the book is happening between December and January, where these months are actually cold usually. So other than the flies, there are horrible smells throughout the book. In the house and outside the house, every time there's something really weird happening, there are some weird smells. And once again, this portrays to demonic possession or something like this. So once again, the priest is going to link that to the demon. There are weird sounds, not only like footsteps or weird knocks or stuff like this, but also music being played really loud, marching bands inside the house. We sounds as if there was a marching band, not really having marching bands in the house, but yeah, all these weird sounds. So yeah, all these weird sounds. There are also some violent outbursts from the father and the mother also against their children or against themselves. So screaming, even I don't remember if there's beatings. Yeah, there are beatings in it. Yeah, with the wife and the husband. So yeah, violent outbursts here. That they said that they're never like this, but the house is making them do that or whatever. Which is something that I found interesting in the book, because in all the Amityville horror movies that I've not watched all of them, but the ones I've watched, it's always like the father figure who's violent against children and wife. Here it was both of them, so I really enjoyed that in the book. Another thing, yeah, there's this weird imaginary friend slash spirit ghost demon thing, which is a pig called Jody, and the pig only the only person who's seeing the pig or only can speak to the pig is the little girl, which I forgot her name. I'm sorry, but she's always talking to the pig that she called Jody, and she's 5 years old. Actually, the little girl in the book. Um, and one thing that this really triggered something in me, not necessarily triggered, but I felt close to that whole thing with the pig and the little girl, and mainly because I have a girl who's 4 years old. Sorry, and we were playing downstairs in her playroom. So yeah, I'm going on a tangent here, but it's something that actually happened to me. We were playing in the playroom, and at one point, she's playing with her figurines, and she just turns away, facing like one of the corner of the playroom, and she's like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna hurt my daddy." And that scared the hell out of me, because one of my daughter's imaginary friend, because she has a lot of them actually, wanted to hurt me very badly, that she said afterwards. And that's why the whole thing with the pig connected with me, just because kids can get scary. And yeah, you could be scared of your children, because children sometimes say scary stuff, and they can be scary, because what if it's not an imaginary friend? What if demons really exist, or evil entities, ghosts that wants us harm, or whatever the thing, what if truly exists? And just think. Same thing here with Jody. I think at one point Jody's like want to hurt her mother or her father, and she's like, no, don't hurt mommy or daddy. So that really connected with me. But back to the book though. So there are it's always cold inside the house, even if the father's always feeding the fire or making sure that the thermostat are all on, and that there's heat in the house, but there's always this cold breeze that stays within the house and that never leaves. Once again, this is kind of a trope that you always see in hauntings, actually having this cold breeze. Weird nightmares happening mostly near the end of the book. There are a lot of these weird nightmares happening. Kathy and George having most of these nightmares, so the parents actually. And there's also body floating off of beds. Once again, familiar trope to hauntings. All these things are all things that if you read anything about hauntings or demon possession, you'll be familiar with any of these things because it's mainly what always happen in these type of things. So yeah, once again, I'm not sure if it's true, if the Lutzes really live throughout all of that. But I mean, I don't know why they would lie though. So, or maybe it got bigger than what actually happens. But even if it's just a small fraction of it that's true, I mean, I would have left that house way before that month, because end of first week or whatever, there was already weird, really weird stuff happening. I would have fled that house, leave all behind way before. Uh, because that being said, if they would have stayed in the house, I mean, it could. I would believe that it was just a lie, but them, fleeing the house, leaving all their possessions in the house, something bad must have happened. To what extent, though, I'm not sure. And the author also, by the end of the book, saying like he's not sure to what extent it's real and to what extent it's truly a demon or not. That we need to do more investigation into the paranormal, but unfortunately, there are a lot of crooks and stuff like that in the paranormal, so it's hard to really do real investigations with these type of things. And also, hauntings, just because how they are, they don't tend to repeat themselves. So yeah, it's a ghost is a one-time thing, so it's hard to really point in the direction if it truly happened or not. So that I really like by the end of the book, that the author's kind of questioning all of that, even though it's clear that the author's always suggesting the devil, uh, a demon throughout the book. I like that near the end he's asking like, what if it's not true, or if it's true, how can we better investigate and so on. So I like that near the end. Also, main topic of the book, I would say, is the fear that you have as a parent to not be able to not provide for your family, but not only provide but also like protect your family, because at one point the father's is feeling like he cannot do anything, he cannot help his family because he's powerless against these entities. So it begs the question, what happens if you cannot keep your family safe, because the house is supposed to be a safe haven, and if it's not, how can you live, not only live with that, but also like, yeah, you have the feeling of being maybe a failure as a parent or something like this, to not be able to protect your family. So I really like that topic in the book. If you've not guessed it though, on with my rating, definite thumbs up. Go read the book. It's very good. Even if it's, I think it's going to be my last horror based on true events type of book, because the thing I hate about horror being based on true story is that I feel like somebody's is making money out of people's misery, and that's something that I cannot get behind of. Um, but that being said, that book was really well made, not like Satan's Harvest, actually. Uh, this is a far superior book, in my opinion, so go read it. It's actually good. The story is very interesting. Only thing I would have done maybe with that book, maybe change the name of the city where everything happens, change the names of the family, just so not making money out of people's misery, as I said. But that being said, though, Amityville Horror, very great title of a story. So I don't know how they could have named it so it was good. But yeah, very cool title. Definite thumbs up, as I said. That's it for the Amityville Horror. Uh, Let me know if you've read it, if you enjoyed it, or even if you liked the remake, with Ryan Reynolds. You're entitled to liking it. If you liked it, let me know also what you liked about it. Maybe I just need to rewatch it, Maybe when I watch it, I wasn't in the right mood or whatever. Feel free to try and change my mind. It's a good thing. But that being said, next week I'll be reviewing Turn of the Screw by Henry James. Sorry. Um, just so you guys know, I'm kind of struggling with that book for now, mainly because English not being my natural language. The book is written in a way that I'm having kind of trouble understanding. That being said, I'm glad that it's not a long book because, yeah, I'm taking my time with that book. It's 100 pages or so, but I'm taking my time making sure I understand everything completely. But as I said, I'm struggling just a little bit though for now. So, yeah, that's it for me, guys. Peace out.